Hey y'all. Okay, I don't know if y'all have heard about this, but y'all, this is crazy. And it needs more attention. Okay. I'm just now hearing about this. I don't know if y'all have heard about this yet, but like I said, it definitely needs more attention than what it's been getting. Um because there's no need to just be hearing about this now when it's happened days ago, like earlier in the month. Okay. There's two different black men who were found hanging from trees, okay, on two different occasions. Let's say 10 days apart and 50 miles apart, okay. They're trying to rule it a suicide, okay, but the families are demanding, more answers and a more extensive investigation, because they do not believe that it was suicide. And sadly, this is what happens. People get killed, and or maybe I should just say black men get killed, and they like to rule it a suicide, okay, or an accident, okay, just like with Kanika. It's not an accident, and it definitely wasn't suicide, just like these young men. I don't believe that this was a suicide at all. Um, you know, I don't know for a fact because obviously I wasn't there, and you know, we don't you never know what that person is thinking right before they die. Like, you don't know what's going on through their mind. You never know what's going through somebody's mind. You might be, aware of things that's going on in their life, but sometimes we aren't aware of everything. Okay. But however, it just it just seems strange, okay? It just seems really weird. And I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't want to rub anybody the wrong way, but not to even bring race into it, but to be honest, you just don't really see black men hanging themselves from a tree to kill themselves. Okay? I mean, it's just not common. And the reason I say that is because we don't usually see that. And I personally feel like, you know, I just don't really see that as being, it's not common. It's not common. And it just seems very out of the ordinary. Okay. For a black man to go hang himself from a tree, knowing that, his ancestors, and, just back in the day, people used to get hung from trees and all types of stuff. I just don't see that happening. Okay. And I know we can't really tell, from the looks of people, okay, what they're capable of doing, okay, because that's also stereotyping, I guess. I don't know. If it is, let me know, because I don't like the stereotype. But I mean, just looking at these two men right here, okay, and not really knowing anything about them, not knowing anything about either one of them, or none of that, but just looking at them, I don't think that they look like they would be hanging themselves from a tree. I mean, that just doesn't even sound right to me. I don't know. Like I said, I could be wrong, okay? But we're going to go over this, and we're going to be following this because, like I said, it needs way more attention than what it's getting. Black men are dying left and right. And with everything going on right now, it's so much going on to the point that where it's easy to brush things under the rug. It's, yes, now because there's a lot of protests and all of that, yes, people are starting to, you know, fight for everything that they have been wanting or needing, or whatever type of, equality or justice that they've needed. Yes, people are fighting for that more right now because it's nationwide protest. And, you know, now people are protesting for everything. Okay, so, yes, things can be in the public eye more, but there's so much in the public eye to where things can get hidden and thrown out just like this. This is what they want. Okay? It just sounds strange to me. I just find it hard to believe that these two men, just by looking at these pictures, okay? I'm just going by what I have right in front of us, and that's these two pictures, okay? And, like I said, if it's stereotyping, let me know, because I don't like to stereotype, but in situations like this, sometimes it's okay, because, I'm not saying anything wrong, right? I'm saying that to me, they don't look like they'd be hanging themselves. This dude over here, he just looks more, you know, like, a little rough around the edges or whatever. And then you got this dude right here who, I see he's got a graduation gown on. So he graduated, I don't know if that's high school or college graduation, but he graduated from something. He has goals. To me, he looks like, he looks like a good kid. He looks like a good, young man, and he does too. These men, they just don't look like they would be doing anything like this. Okay? I just find it really hard to believe. So let's just look at this article a little bit. See, here's pictures from the protest. They're protesting now this is their families and stuff, just protesters for their justice to find out what happened to them. Okay? The families of two black men who were found hanged from trees in Southern California are asking the authorities for further investigate their deaths. The family of Robert Fuller, 24, disputed the authorities' initial pronouncement that he died by suicide. The family of Malcolm Harsh, 38, is worried his death will also be ruled a suicide. Mr. Harsh was found at 7 a.m. on May 31st near a homeless camp in Victorville, California, where bystanders told the authorities he was living. There were no indications of foul play, but the investigation was continuing. According to a spokeswoman for the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Coroner's Department, the Victorville Fire Department found bystanders performing CPR on Mr. Harsh when it arrived at the scene, according to Sue Jones, the public information officer of the city of Victorville. Firefighters took over and tried to restore Mr. Harsh's heartbeat, but they stopped after 20 minutes. Okay, let's go back to the picture just so y'all know who is who. Okay, this is Robert Fuller, and this is Malcolm Harsh. Okay. So Mr. Harsh's heartbeat, the older one, that's whose heart they're trying to revive right now, and they stopped after 20 minutes. We grieve for Malcolm's family and extend our deepest condolences, Ms. Jones said. Malcolm Harsh's life mattered. Mr. Harsh's relatives were told by the coroner's office that his autopsy was completed, said Harmony Harsh, Mr. Harsh's sister, but they were not informed of the cause of death. We are just really trying to get more answers as to what happened, Miss Harsh, 29, said in an interview on Sunday. My brother was so loving, not only to his family, but even strangers. It is not like him. Mr. Harsh moved to California 14 years ago from Ohio, Miss Harsh said. He loved doing tattoos. He was very artistic. See, he had goals. He had ambitions. Okay? Ms. Harsh said she was conducting her own investigation into her brother's deaths. It has been stressful. It doesn't sound right. Around 50 miles west of Victorville in Palmdale, California, Mr. Fuller's family questioned the authorities' pronouncement that his death was considered a suicide. At a rally for Mr. Fuller on Saturday, Diamond Alexander, his sister, said through tears that the initial resolution on her brother's death did not make sense. Everything that they've been telling us has not been right, she said. We've been hearing one thing, then we hear another, and we just want to know the truth. Sounds familiar to us, don't it? We usually we've seen things like this before. Everything that they've been telling us has not been right. We've been hearing one thing, then another. Sorry, I already read that. A passerby discovered Mr. Fuller's body hanging from a tree in Ponsonland Square across from Palmdale City Hall at around 3:39 a.m. on Wednesday. Though the investigation was continuing, the authorities noted in their news release that Mr. Fuller tragically committed suicide. Mr. Fuller's autopsy has not even been completed. My brother was not suicidal. He wasn't, said Miss Alexander, okay? This is sad. Like, this is so sad, okay? This is where the other man, the older guy, Malcolm Harsh, okay? This is where he was found hanging at, over here in this homeless camp. You know, come on now. The men's death has struck a chord with people in northern Los Angeles County and across the nation, as many have protested against racism and police brutality for over 2 weeks in response to the killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis. A petition demanding for a full investigation into Mr. Fuller's death has gotten over 215,000 signatures as of Sunday afternoon. At a news conference held by officials at Palmdale City Hall on Friday, residents made it clear that they did not trust that the local authorities would properly investigate Mr. Fuller's death. They demanded an independent review and transparency. Why was it right here in public, in front of the city hall, next to a church, in front of a library? Why was it like that? Who would do that? No black man would hang himself in public like that. Thank you. Exactly. Like I just said. First of all, that's weird for anybody to do. Okay? That's weird for anybody to go hang themselves in front of City Hall, next to a church, in front of a library. Like, you gotta understand, okay? That's just not normal for people to do stuff like that. And usually when people do stuff like that, like they're angry and they're trying to send a message, okay? I don't think that this 24-year-old man, this 24-year-old black man hung himself in the middle of town like that or wherever they're at. That just does that make any sense to y'all? Because it doesn't make any sense to me. And obviously it's a whole lot of people who feel the same way. If they're protesting, they've gotten all these signatures since Friday or Sunday. Like there's a lot of people that feel the same way. It's odd. Okay, there's something that's off about this. Alright? And it is time that these things stop. You know, and that's the thing. It needs more attention. You know, all these things that's happening, we need to be bringing a lot more attention to them, especially right now, okay? Right now, while all this stuff is going on, while all these protests are going on, and, you know, all the attention, you know, that's being brought out for all this stuff, all the racial injustice, and, you know, everything that people are protesting about, okay? Everything that needs to be fought for, right now is the time. Right now is the time to be bringing all of this stuff out and into the public eye, okay? You know, we cannot let this right here just go like they want it, like this, just as a suicide, okay? You know, I mean, Mr. Malcolm Harsh right here, like I said, I don't see either one of them hanging themselves. To me, it just seems off, hanging themselves from a tree, okay? You know, the thing is, most people, when they want to kill themselves, like I said, I mean, it just seems strange to me, in front of City Hall, next to a church, in front of a library, or next to a library. Like, all of that stuff just sounds weird, right? You know, okay, this guy right here, though, Mr. Harsh, they say he lived in a homeless camp. You know, I don't believe that he did it at all, okay? But that's the thing. They want us to feel like, oh, because he was homeless, he was depressed, and that was his reason probably for killing himself. You know, you have to understand that, you know, around when things happen, especially to a black man or a black person, they give you clues, okay? Or they put little details in to try to make it seem like that was the reason why this happened. You know, like this man, they want to say he was living in a homeless camp, and that's where he was found dead. Okay, watch. They're probably going to say Robert Fuller killed himself in front of the city hall and all of that because somebody upset him, or they're going to try to pull out some type of details. Okay, or oh, he did it because of the protest. He was trying to prove a point. No. Okay, you got to understand, a lot of times when white people, and I hate to bring race into any of this, okay, because I don't like talking about any kind of racial controversial stuff, only because I love everybody, okay, and I don't want anybody from any certain race looking at me bad or whatever, anything like that, because I don't target anybody for race, for color, for none of that, okay. I'm a very, very neutral person, and I love any and everybody regardless of race, creed, color, sex, origin, sexual orientation, like just how they have like the equal opportunity employer. I'm an equal opportunity friend, equal opportunity person. I love everybody, okay. The thing is, a lot of times when we see things like this happen with a white person, okay, they'll label it, whatever they're trying to label it as, okay, a homicide or a suicide. Okay, but usually with a suicide, they don't have these clues thrown in there like this, okay, like, oh, and sometimes they do. They'll tell you what's going on, but if you don't understand what I'm trying to get at, then there's no need for me to try to explain, but I see it all the time. I see it a lot, okay? You got to understand that with a lot of these deaths on black men, or just black people period, but black men, a lot of times these things are covered up and they're thrown out because that's what they want, and that's what they can feel like they can do, and it's sad that it happens like that, and it doesn't need to. And that, like I said, that's why this case right here, these cases need way more attention than what they're getting. Yes, a lot of people have heard about it. Like I said, I have not heard about it at all. You know, so I mean, this is something that needs to be heard, because I really don't believe that these young men died from suicide. And I hope and pray that some answers come out. I don't know. I mean, I hope and pray to God, though, that they do come out and that they do a proper investigation. And like I tell people all the time, okay, and this is advice to any of their families. If y'all are watching this or listening to this, please, I highly advise you to go with another autopsy. I mean, yes, I understand you want to do extensive investigations, but don't just depend on what they tell you. If you have to do independent autopsies, it's always good to get that second or third one, because people can lie, and they do it all the time. Y'all, we gotta fight for the ones who don't have a voice anymore. We have to be their voices, and their voices need to be heard. I mean, this is so sad. It's just very upsetting, to see that things are constantly going on. Just constant things, and I mean, ever since George Floyd got killed by those police officers, like, everything has just been going crazy. I understand the protests and stuff like that, but there's so many unnecessary deaths that are happening behind, at this time. And not really behind all of that. Some of it is, though, because that's the thing. Like I say all the time, we are dealing with a race war right now, okay? And it should not be like that. It shouldn't be like that. We should all love each other, no matter skin color. Our skin color don't make us who we are. It's just the color of our skin. It just shows that somebody has a little bit more pigment than the other. You know? I mean, that has nothing to do with who you are as a person. You know, and it angers me that people actually go by a skin color, you know, to base judgment on the next person. It's just ridiculous. But when things like this happen with these protests and all of the, you know, the racial issues, it sparks a lot of hate in the world. And if anything, we should be sparking love and radiating love and positivity. But a lot of people, when you have people that are racist and angry and stuff like that, instead of them looking at the protest and looking at things that are trying to get done, you know, instead of them looking at it in a positive way and having a heart and saying, you know what, yeah, I'm wrong, and, you know, I need to lighten up a little bit. Instead of that, some people take it to their advantage and they do things like this, okay? And like I said, I don't believe that they hung themselves. That is my opinion on this, okay? You know, that's just my opinion. I don't believe that they did, okay? And like I said, I mean, a lot of things happen. Sometimes, you know, when things are amplified, like right now, all the stuff is being amplified, and a lot of times people use that to their advantage, and they will get angry and they'll go kill and just do stuff, you know? So, y'all leave your comments and feedback down below. Let me know what y'all think about this, okay? Because, you know, I'm curious to know how y'all feel about this. If y'all want to send me anything, you can do so in my email, or you can add me on Facebook and send whatever you like through there. I'm a little behind on checking my messages. I will be doing that today, getting caught up on everything. If y'all have not subscribed to my other channel, click on the link down below, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Till the next time I talk to y'all, have a wonderful day. God bless. I love y'all. Stay safe.